Imagine waking up, right? You hear your alarm buzzing, the sun's hitting your face through the blinds, but your very first thought, it's absolutely not about real life. You're not thinking about breakfast or the morning commute or that huge assignment due tomorrow. No. Instead, your mind is just completely, utterly, and instantly consumed by the game. You're thinking about your missions. You know, those critical objectives you had to leave unfinished at 2 in the morning. You're lying there mentally mapping out the exact resources you still need to gather. Or maybe you're calculating the specific gear required to finally take down that one impossible boss. You're strategizing your exact moves for the literal second you log back in. And you're thinking about your online identity because, hey, in the physical world, maybe you're just a regular high school student or an everyday office worker pouring coffee. But inside the game, your avatar has a legacy. You're thinking about your stats, your hard-earned rank, and exactly how you're seen by this massive community of people who only know your username, but who genuinely respect you for your undeniable achievements. You're also thinking about your teammates. These are real people scattered all over the globe who are relying heavily on you for the next big win. See, for millions of people around the world right now, video games have fundamentally transformed. They absolutely aren't just casual weekend entertainment anymore. They've evolved into these rich, complex, living places. People build genuine friendships there, experience massive, measurable success, and often find a way to escape real-world struggles. But what actually happens when that virtual world becomes vastly more attractive than the real one? Well, let's dive into Section 1, the power of progress. Okay, so to really understand why people get so easily lost in games, we first have to look at how they're intentionally designed. Game developers are essentially master psychologists. They build these digital worlds to be incredibly engaging by providing clear goals and perfectly timed rewards. Just look at the stark contrast between our physical reality and these games. In real life, success is, well, it's pretty uncertain, right? You could study relentlessly for years or put in grueling hours at a corporate job and still get zero recognition. The results are delayed, progress is muddy, and you rarely know exactly where you stand. But inside a game, progress is a mathematical certainty. You finish a mission and boom, you instantly get experience points. You visibly level up. You unlock shiny new armor. The game is constantly giving you immediate, undeniable feedback that screams, you are getting better. And our human brains are deeply, fundamentally hardwired to crave exactly that kind of immediate reward and visible achievement. It's incredibly satisfying in a way reality rarely is. Which leads us to Section 2, escaping the real world. Because that in-game progress is so clearly visible and rewarding, it honestly doesn't take long for gaming to shift from mere entertainment into something much deeper. It essentially becomes a psychological refuge. For a lot of people, this virtual landscape transforms into a true safe haven. Think about someone who feels totally invisible in everyday life. Maybe they're the quiet kid in the back of the classroom, or they're constantly overlooked at work, struggling to navigate normal social dynamics. But then they log in and everything changes. Suddenly, they're the respected, commanding leader of a guild, coordinating 50 people in a high-stakes raid. They find deep, meaningful friendships online. The game lets them feel immensely more successful, significantly more connected, vastly more confident, and crucially, way more in control of their own destiny than reality currently allows. The game stops being just a game. It becomes a fully realized, deeply comforting second world. And that brings us to Section 3, Internet Gaming Disorder. But you know, there is a tipping point, and we really need to look objectively at what happens when this second world completely eclipses the first. This is exactly where psychologists start discussing Internet Gaming Disorder. Now, let me be absolutely clear right up front. The issue here isn't simply about counting how many hours someone plays. Millions of people game heavily while still maintaining great relationships, crushing it in their careers, and easily handling their daily responsibilities. Gaming itself is not inherently harmful. The real diagnosis centers around a much deeper, more fundamental question. What actual role does gaming play in your life? Is it an awesome addition that brings you joy? Or has it become a complete replacement for it? So the crucial point is that internet gaming disorder is ultimately defined by a massive loss of balance. It's when a person keeps playing heavily despite severe, undeniable negative consequences. We're talking chronically disrupted sleep leading to total exhaustion, real-life relationships starting to wither. And this happens in really normal human ways, like consistently missing family dinners, leaving real-world friends on read for days, or skipping social events just to squeeze in one more hour of playtime. Daily responsibilities, like critical work deadlines or huge school exams, just get completely ignored. The physical world basically loses its color, its urgency, and its importance, all because gaming has become the singular, dominant source of meaning and satisfaction in that person's entire life. Let's move to Section 4, the psychology of identity. Let's see how this builds, because to truly grasp how a game can successfully take over someone's life, we have to look closely at the psychological framework of how we actually build our own identities. In psychology, there's this fascinating concept called self-harmonization theory. It basically states that human beings don't just have one simple monolithic identity. Instead, we create ourselves through multiple different dimensions, and a healthy mind requires all of these dimensions to be in relative harmony. Think of it like different instruments playing together in an orchestra. If one single instrument suddenly overpowers all the rest, the beautiful music quickly just turns into overwhelming noise. When our digital lives and our real lives start to violently clash or blur like that, a severe identity crisis can occur. Here's how self-harmonization theory beautifully breaks our identity down into 3 sequential steps. First, we have the embodied self. That's our physical experience in the real world, our flesh and blood, our actual physical sensations and emotions. Second, we have the expressive self. This is how we choose to act, how we actively connect with others, and how we deliberately present ourselves to the world. And finally, the reflective self, which is how we internally process and understand exactly who we are and what our life actually means. Now, let's double back and really look at that middle step. It's that middle step, the expressive self, where video games completely hijack our psychology. In a complex game, players get to custom build their characters from the ground up. They freely choose their identities, they develop highly specialized skills, and they get to experience a profound, undeniable sense of belonging to a tribe. And this brilliantly illustrates what people are actually searching for. Behind excessive gaming, there is almost always a deeply human story of unmet needs. People aren't just staring at screens looking for bright colors and loud sound effects. They're desperately searching for true connection, a sense of real achievement, external recognition, personal control, and deep meaning. Games are incredibly, remarkably powerful because they deliver absolutely all of these things on a silver platter, entirely without the messiness of real life. But this raises a truly critical question for anyone trying to navigate our modern digital age. Is your virtual identity actively supporting your real self, giving you a healthy space to recharge and have fun? Or is it entirely replacing your real self because your actual day-to-day life is starved of these basic fundamental human needs? Which brings us to Section 5, the future of balance. This highlights the ultimate challenge as we look ahead. We have to figure out how to successfully integrate these 2 realities. Because, make no mistake, the future of gaming is only going to become infinitely more immersive. With the rapid, staggering advancement of virtual reality, highly sophisticated AI, expansive digital worlds, and deeply integrated global online communities, the boundary between what is real and what is virtual is becoming less clear by the very day. But we have to remember this core truth. Video games are not the enemy. We shouldn't blindly fear technology. Games are really just vivid mirrors of our own human psychology. They perfectly reflect our innate desire to achieve great things, to connect with other minds, and to become someone greater than we currently are. When utilized well, they can be incredibly creative, highly educational, and beautifully, deeply social. The true challenge isn't trying to destroy the virtual world, but learning how to skillfully integrate these amazing, expanding virtual experiences with a healthy, grounded, well-rounded human life. Because we need real, messy, human relationships, real, tangible experiences, and real personal growth, just as much as we enjoy our spectacular virtual achievements. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a powerful and really provocative thought straight from our source material. The question for the future is not simply, should humans escape into virtual worlds? The deeper, much more important question we need to be asking as a society is this: can we create a world where people do not need to escape from themselves? Finding that delicate harmony between who we are online and who we are in reality, that is the defining challenge of the digital age. Definitely something to think about the next time you log in.